Right, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Thanks very much for joining. Today I'm going to take you through all of the upgrades I have on my MT10. Now, I know a lot of you guys like MT10s or have an MT10, so I'm always getting questions. It's probably the most common thing I get questions about is the old bike, the old jalopy. So I thought I'd show you everything that I've done to it and maybe what was done before I even got the bike, and see if that's something that you want to do to yours. If that interests you, stick around, grab a coffee, and I'll see you after the intro. Right, let's get on with this video. In the middle of an airfield right now. One of the largest pepper farms in the UK, I believe. Old World War II place. Anyway, so for my MT10, I've done a couple of bits to this, and I want to show you what they are. It came with a couple of things as well when I bought it. Some of the obvious things. So first of all, on my bike, it's got Pipeworks N-Can. It's got a decat system as well. It also has protection on the engine, very handy, because I have dropped it before getting it off the stand on this side, and I've got protection, and I do have protection on the rear as well. It's just not fitted, so very important. I've done that. Obviously the frame side it came with these little funky indicators which look a little bit like transformer eyes. They're quite good, I like them. They have like daytime running lights and it looks quite snazzy. I do have a carbon front mudguard. I do have the rear as well, but to be honest, it kind of just broke just by using it, so it's been replaced with the standard one. Yeah, I like the look of the carbon front mudguard. This was actually quite lucky because the courier that delivered my bike, and also excuse me for how dirty this bike is, but I've been using it. The courier damaged the bike when they picked it up. The guy who sold it to me had the disc lock on it. The courier tried to move it without him, before the payment had gone through, chipped it, owed me a new one. I got a nice headed page quotation from Yamaha, and it bought me that, so win. I have an Evotech tail tidy, really nice. I do have as well an aftermarket rear headlight. What am I saying? I have an aftermarket rear brake light. The indicator comes on both sides. I'll show you. Snazzy. So you can see like that. So when I bought this bike, these indicators weren't on here, and it had a tail tidy that wouldn't hold indicators, so I had to rewire some new ones in, because I'm not really the biggest fan of the way it looks. Try to find my indicator switch. Big fan of protection. Headlight covers, I went for blue. You can get all different types of colour, but yeah, I like the blue. I don't want too leery. I don't really like yellow for some reason, although it would match. Oh my god, I'm out of breath just walking around. Moving on to the top half, so I've got Dyno grips. These will just wear out on every bike eventually, so I just replaced the standard ones with Dynos. I also got these wing mirrors, and a lot of you post asking where to get these wing mirrors, so I'll put a link to everything I have here in the description below, but these are my favourite. Some people mount them below, or they turn this so it's here, but I like them like this. When I got this bike, it had stubby levers. I am not a fan of stubby levers. I just don't like them. I replaced them with, they're not expensive ones, but just functional levers that are long and black and just look a bit tidier for me. If I go into here, you can see I have rewired the 12 volt power supply with a USB and USB-C volt supply, and also it tells you how much battery you've got, which is really handy. If you're like battery's low or whatever, you can see the voltage that's actually in your bike at that time. I like that. Going down here, I have a Super Sprox rear sprocket, golden did chain. That's something that everyone's going to have to replace at some point, but I went with Super Sprox standard teeth. The front sprocket is a rubber sprocket. I replaced it like for like pretty much. I know you can get front sprockets without the rubber, but for me, I just want that. I want a comfy ride but fast. I went with the standard one. Another thing I've bought is this. this is a Race Talks gear link support. Now this has a lot of controversy online. Some people really slag it off, and some people who've bought one know that it actually makes a nice difference. Well, the best way I would describe the difference this makes is, you know, when you get that nice solid positive clunky feeling in a gearbox, it takes out the slack of the shaft. It's not needed, you can get away without having it, but I haven't had a false neutral, I don't think, since I fitted that, and beforehand I had a couple, so I would recommend them a lot actually. It's a good little modification that helps you out when you're daily riding. I do have passenger foot peg deletes, I have the standard foot pegs, and I also have the tracer foot pegs for the rear, just so it's easier for my passenger, more comfortable. You can buy plugs for these, and I did have them but they fell out, so if you do buy them they'll probably last you about a year and then they'll fall out. Mine fell out on both sides. I've also bought the comfort seat, worthwhile, does add a little bit of height to the ride but I think it's worth it. I've done plenty of trips with this comfort seat and it's been just fine. I've also wired in a power supply here for my Kais heated jacket, and I think this is going to be the final thing almost that I can show you is rad guards. So there's a rad guard there, there's a guard down there as well for the oil cooler, and I think that's about it. I think that's where we're at. These rear indicators are slightly smoked but legal, so yeah. If any of you are new to my channel, this is what the pipework sounds like. And we'll get on to the, oh god, it's stony and a bit rubbish here. We'll get on to the modifications that I can't show you, but I can tell you what they support. So obviously my bike has got a Pipeworks exhaust and it has a decal on it. I've covered this in many a video, but for those of you who are unaware, if you change your exhaust, it alters the air-fuel ratio to your engine, and in an ideal world you would have a map done. Now I see in many forums all the time, oh, just send it to, even I've done this, I've sent the ECU to an independent mapper. When I had my KTM I sent it to a guy, he mapped it over the post, it came back, it was fine, I would never know any difference, you know, it improved it slightly, and as it would. But every engine is unique, so I would strongly advise that you get a custom dyno map to your bike. Take your bike physically and go into a mapper, professional mapper, so he can put that bike through its paces, because each engine is going to act slightly differently to another. And a postal map is done on the base bike, so you know, like this one for example, if this was the base bike for all postal maps on MT10s, everyone's map who goes to that person, that independent mapper who gets one in the mail, is going to get a tune that's ideal for my engine, not yours. So bear that in mind, yeah. I know they're cheaper, but it's worth getting the proper tune. I got my bike tuned at JB Motorcycle Services, so John Barnes, and really nice guy. He tuned this bike for me, and I took it out and I was like, do you know what, I don't really want it's a bit too aggressive. So I went back, he adjusted that, he adjusted the bike to suit exactly how I like to ride it, and that you don't get on a postal map. And it also made good power. It made about I think it's just over 150 wheel horsepower, so whatever that is at the crank plus whatever it is amount of percent, but it's making good power. It's well over 160 brake, 170-ish brake. I think you add about, what is it, 15-20%? Not sure. So yeah, the map is a big one, and I wanted to cover it and make sure that to get that in there, because that makes a big difference to how the bike performs, it rides, feels. But yes guys, that's pretty much all I've done to my bike. I just wanted to make it, you know, nice to ride. And when I first got this bike, it had R1 rear sets on it, so direct off the R1, and I found them really like high and uncomfortable. typical sort of teenage look where they're just like, oh, you're a dick, life's hard. Oh yeah, also this bike's got a tracker. That's another thing. I didn't actually, well, I did buy it. Bought it off the previous owner. That's a subscription tracker, so you know I could just use an Apple key tag, but for some reason insurers don't really recognise that as a proper tracker, although it's just as good and you don't have to pay for it all the time. But anyway, yeah, it's got a tracker. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've done to this. I feel like the last owner did some sort of servo delete, but I'm not really sure what that is. Another thing also, my MT10 didn't come with angled, what's the bloody word for it? Angle, you know, where you pump your tyres up. Tyre valves. One last thing that I forgot. And this is not really unique to the bike, but I've kept it on my bike and I consider it a good upgrade. And that is this thing here. This is the quad lock. And it's a phone mount. There's a few different phone mounts out there. I haven't tried them all, but this is the one I've got. I've got the vibration damper on it to stop it damaging your camera. I'm not sure how effective that actually is, but none of my phones have ever had broken cameras, touch wood. I also forgot to mention another upgrade which I'd like to do, which is the Brembo RCS 19 front master cylinder. I have had a go on my mate's MT10 who has that, and it's rather nice, so that is something I would consider getting if I had unlimited funds and wanted to plough all that money into this bike. So yeah, bear that in mind. I think pretty much everything else is standard, like the airbox is standard, I haven't got anything else that's fancy on it, just basics, and it's sort of made it mine and I feel comfortable on it, and I feel like the upgrades have been nice upgrades, well worth it. What would I do if I had unlimited money? There's another question. I'd have titanium headers. That would be something I would quite like, but I just can't really justify buying them. They're just so much money for what they are, and they won't make a huge difference. I do like carbon protection, but I wouldn't go over the top. I see some bikes and they're just like MT10s lathered in carbon, like these scoops are carbon, the front headlights are carbon, everything is carbon. Just as well have a full carbon MT10. I'm not against that, I just don't like it when there's like one thing left, like the fuel tank, which is not. But yeah, a few tasteful, this is where it's tricky, tasteful carbon protection upgrades would be quite nice. Maybe a frame protection or a swing arm protection, probably what I would go for. But yeah, other than that guys, that's pretty much it. If there's anything you want to know, pop a comment down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I get back to most of my comments. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. If there's anything I've missed, it'll be in the description box, and I'll have a good think about it when I'm editing this video. But yeah, take care. I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now.